Welcome to the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy's 2021 Wright Spirit Award ceremony. Introduced in 1991, the Wright Spirit Award recognizes extraordinary individuals and organizations that have preserved the legacy of Frank Lloyd Wright through their tireless dedication and persistent efforts. It is the highest accolade bestowed by the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy, whose mission is to facilitate the preservation and stewardship of the remaining built works designed by Frank Lloyd Wright through advocacy, education, and technical services. The award in the private category honors owners of Wright-designed houses who have rescued a building or have demonstrated outstanding stewardship in its conservation. The Conservancy honors the late Suzanne and Tom Miller in the private category for their exceptional work to return the 1906 DeRhodes House in South Bend, Indiana to its original magnificence after it had been heavily altered for non-residential use. Shown here on August 2nd, 1978, the day they closed on the house, the Millers dedicated the next 4 decades to the house's restoration. The house had been used for years as a social club. Its exterior had been neglected, and alterations such as a fire stair at the back significantly marred its appearance. This neglect placed the house in a near ruinous state. On the interior, the first floor was practically gutted, with major architectural elements critical to Wright's design intent removed. Many of its precious art glass windows and fixtures had been discarded. Investing their own sweat equity into the restoration, Suzanne and Tom did most of the work themselves to uncover and reconstruct lost components, finishes, and details. Over time, major elements in the first floor's combined reception, living, dining space were restored, including the entry area, the living room fireplace, and the dining room sideboard. At the entry, previous owners had moved the stairway leading from the lower vestibule up to the reception area on the main level and had removed adjacent built-in cabinets in order to provide clear floor area on the upper level. Tom Miller restored the stair to its previous location and reconstructed millwork components, returning the entry to its original gracious proportions. In the living room, the fireplace had been completely obliterated. The Roman brick facing had been removed and the firebox walled over. One early photograph and Wright's design drawings provided information on which to base the reconstruction. The remaining upstairs fireplace served as a match for the face brick. As luck would have it, the brick that Wright used in his 1911 renovation of his Oak Park studio into living space matched the brick at the DeRhodes house. When the studio was restored to its 1909 appearance, the Roman brick was salvaged and eventually bought by the Millers, allowing a near-exact restoration of the DeRhodes fireplace. As with other components on the first floor, the dining room sideboard had disappeared. Once again, one early photograph and Wright's design drawings provided the basis for an accurate restoration. The kitchen had been heavily altered, though a few millwork components remained. After Tom's death in 2018, Suzanne continued to work on the house, carrying out a sensitive kitchen renovation incorporating many of the original components. Among the most impressive elements of the house are its beautiful art glass windows and fixtures. Many of these had been discarded by previous owners, and the Millers worked with Wardell Art Glass Studio over many years to restore original windows and recreate missing pieces, including the hanging fixtures in the living and dining rooms, and 15 wall sconces located throughout the house. And in 2020, even as her own health declined, Suzanne carried out a major exterior restoration, working with Restoric LLC, along with Chris Finneck and his team from Rustic Restoration Incorporated, who restored the exterior stucco. To protect the future of the DeRhodes house, shortly before her death in May 2021, Suzanne donated to the Conservancy a preservation easement, which will protect in perpetuity not only the exterior of the house, but also the beautifully restored main floor and upstairs hallway. On the completion of Suzanne's restoration work in early 2021, the Conservancy expedited its 2021 Wright Spirit Award review process, and in April was able to present to her this award in recognition of the extraordinary efforts of the Millers in saving and restoring this house. The Conservancy recognizes Doug Lebrecht for his comprehensive restoration of the Meyer House in Galesburg, Michigan. Doug has overseen restoration of the house since 2003. At the time of his purchase of the house, its concrete block exterior was covered with stark white paint, and all the exterior woodwork, coated with brown latex paint, was in need of restoration. Similarly, the surrounding landscape called out for attention. A part of Wright's 1948 Galesburg Country Homes development, also known as the Acres, the Meyer House is one of 4 houses Wright designed for the community. As a result of Doug's restoration, the house is once again unified with its environment. Working with architect John Eifler, restoration work included structural repairs such as the installation of a new roof, replacement and upgrading of the electrical system, the recreation of lost elements, and the restoration of finishes such as the ceiling plaster with integral color. The restoration was partially complete when a catastrophic leak in a heating pipe occurred in 2017, damaging wood, plaster, and most interior finishes. Doug moved forward with the restoration undeterred by the event, and went on to repair all damaged wood and removed the concrete slab and failed radiant heat piping, replacing them with matching materials. In the slab, control joints were added as originally intended by Wright. Every door frame and window sash, frame, and stop were plain, sanded, and refinished. The interior once again shows many of the hallmarks of Wright's design: concrete floors with integral color, built-in furnishings, and a strong linkage with the surrounding landscape. Wright's furniture and original sofa banquette were brought back to life after significant steam damage from flooding. As a part of the restoration, extensive amounts of the house's original Honduran mahogany woodwork, including all the exterior woodwork, were refinished, and deteriorated pieces were replaced. A new kitchen was installed, in keeping with Wright's original plan, and sleeping areas on the upper level were refurbished. All vertical tongue and groove mahogany was removed, renumbered, refinished, and replaced, and wall-to-wall carpeting was taken out and the original oak floors restored. The house has been transformed into a showplace of Wright's design aesthetic. For his dedication to the restoration of the Meyer House, the Conservancy honors Doug Lebrecht with the Wright Spirit Award in the private category. The Wright Spirit Award in the public category recognizes organizations and individuals who have promoted Frank Lloyd Wright's work in the public arena or have rescued a public building. For their development and execution of the Wright Virtual Visits program, the Conservancy honors Heidi Ruley of the Unity Temple Restoration Foundation, Jeff Goodman of the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, and Eric Rogers of the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy.
Hello from Emil Bachhaus in Chicago, Illinois. This is Carmen saying hello to our viewers and to Marta at Westcott House in Springfield, Ohio.
Hello everyone, my name is Marta Wojcik and I'm Executive Director and Curator of the Westcott House in Springfield, Ohio.
Hello, I'm Val, the Site Manager at the Gordon House in Silverton, Oregon.
This is Abby Brock, Curator at Hollyhock House in Los Angeles.
Hello and welcome to Taliesin West.
This is Steve Sikora from the Willie House.
The Johnny Christian House in West Lafayette, Indiana.
Hello from Greenville.
Welcome to Beth Shalom Synagogue in Elkins Park.
With the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020, just when they were gearing up for spring touring season to begin, many Frank Lloyd Wright sites that are normally open had to close their doors. It was a moment when so many people were shut inside that beauty and inspiration were particularly needed. To meet this need, Heidi, Jeff, and Eric quickly joined forces to create the highly successful Wright Virtual Visits program. In April of 2020, the first phase of Wright Virtual Visits was launched, featuring videos created every week by more than 20 organizations, stretching from Oregon and California to New York and Pennsylvania. These short, fun videos allowed the sites to showcase their buildings and connect with audiences old and new, even when they were physically inaccessible. Wright Virtual Visits quickly earned tremendous national and even international media attention, from the architecture press to lifestyle-focused outlets, all highlighting the unique opportunity to see many of Wright's works safely from the comfort of home. The first phase of the Wright virtual visits ran through July 2020, when many sites began to reopen to in-person visits. During those months, well over 100 videos were produced, and video views soared into the many tens of thousands. Participating sites reported a sizable growth in their social media followings, and even gained new members, supporters, and volunteers. Importantly, the collaboration built new relationships between and strengthened the spirit of collaboration among all participating sites. The success of the first phase of Wright virtual visits encouraged our honorees to continue their work to provide virtual access to Wright-designed sites. In August of 2020, Wright Virtual Visits 2.0 was launched. A new live event format provided for more in-depth looks at a broad selection of Wright sites. In this phase, 2 or 3 sites joined together during each visit to explore comparisons, contrasts, and historical connections between different Wright buildings.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff Goodman. I'm the Vice President of Communication and Partnerships for the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, coming to you from Taliesin West in Scottsdale, Arizona.
And
Heidi?
I'm Ruley. I'm the Executive Director of the Unity Temple Restoration Foundation here in Oak Park, Illinois.
One of the things that you realize is, we're both getting natural light in from the ceiling. And then you have those clerestories there, but then right here has these long banks of floor to ceiling windows. Really, because what he's trying to do here is connect you with the environment.
Quite in contrast to what you have there, Frank Lloyd Wright in particular designed this space to not have you interact with the outside environment for a couple reasons. One is that Unity Temple is situated on the main street called Lake Street in Oak Park. And even back in 1906 to 1908, when this was being constructed, it was quite noisy. So that keeps the noise level out, as well as directing the congregants' attention to the inside of the room.
To date, this second phase has resulted in 16 videos and more than 50,000 cumulative views. For their leadership, creativity, and prompt action during a time of uncertainty, the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy honors Heidi Ruley, Jeff Goodman, and Eric Rogers. The Wright Spirit Award in the professional category honors those who, through architectural, scholarly, or other endeavors, have increased the appreciation for the work of Frank Lloyd Wright. For outstanding leadership as Executive Director and Curator at the Westcott House in Springfield, Ohio, the Conservancy honors Marta Wojciak. Marta moved to Chicago after completing her MA in Art History in her native Poland. Encouraged by John Zukowski, then the Curator of Architecture and Design at the Art Institute of Chicago, where Marta was Curatorial Assistant, she became Curator of Interpretation at the Westcott House in 2005. The recently restored 1908 Prairie House was designed by Wright for Burton Westcott, a prominent businessman, and his wife, Orpha Leffler Westcott, among Springfield's most progressive women. Marta spearheaded the interpretation of the new public site. She established a core of 85 volunteers and developed multiple tours for all ages of the house, its gardens, and surrounding neighborhood. A diverse exhibition program brought new and repeat audiences to the house, with lectures and symposia featuring renowned scholars and professionals. For these early accomplishments, she received honors from the American Architectural Foundation and the Ohio Arts Council. In 2010, Marta became the Westcott House Foundation's Executive Director and Curator, overseeing the development of the organization through innovative mission-based programs. From 2015 to 2018, she implemented a furnishings plan, adding a significant number of furniture and art items to the house's interiors. Perhaps most impressive, Marta was responsible for seeing through a $2 million campaign to eliminate the foundation's debt. Marta has introduced Springfield and the Wright community to a variety of low-cost, well-attended, and long-standing programs, including several international Pacha-Kacha events, neighborhood bicycle and walking tours, art performances and concerts, and online lectures.
From the very beginning, our team has committed to making this house more than a beautiful and important artifact. We really wanted to make it a living house filled with people of all ages. We've experimented with different programs and exhibits to really see what resonates with people. All of our efforts to make this place more than a historic house museum culminated in the creation of the Westcott Center for Architecture and Design. It's so important to indicate to people that we have a much bigger impact than a one physical location.
And her sense of humor has brought wit to the challenges of stewarding a public site.
It's leaking again. What's that sound? Is that water? It's leaking again. Well, that's not good. So, why do you do this? Because this house is magnificent. It's so inspiring. Quite honestly, it feels like heaven. I wouldn't know.
For these accomplishments, the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy honors Marta Wojcik with its Wright Spirit Award in the professional category. The Conservancy Award is given by Conservancy staff to an individual or group that has gone above and beyond to assist the organization in furthering its mission. This year, the Conservancy presents its 2021 Conservancy Award to John Klaus for his dedication to the organization, particularly for volunteering his expertise as videographer at Conservancy conferences. That expertise was gained over a career as videographer for TPT Public TV in St. Paul. He has also freelanced working sports events. A career highlight was working the Olympics in Atlanta in 1996. For over a decade, John has provided the Conservancy with high-quality videos for its conferences. Not only working on-site behind the camera at conference educational sessions, but editing video material and providing the Conservancy with DVD-ready files. In this process, he has preserved hours of valuable lectures, panel discussions, and presentations given to Conservancy audiences. During other Conservancy events, John can be seen satisfying his fascination with Wright and Prairie School architecture, often with his camera at the ready to capture images with his creative eye. Many of these images he has shared with the Conservancy for use in his mission. Most recently, John donated digital files of several hours of video interview with Nancy Willey, original client for the Willey House in Minneapolis. For John's dedication to the mission of the Conservancy and to the legacy of Frank Lloyd Wright, we are pleased to honor him with the 2021 Conservancy Award.